All right, so I'm going to try to create this framing plan. So to start, what we want to do, I'm going to go up to where it says new, make sure it's new models, and then I'm going to go to browse. I want to select structural analysis default. I think it might work in these other ones too, but just to make sure, I'm going to use the structural analysis. I'm going to click open. I'm going to click OK. Make sure I'm going to create a new project. Hit OK here. And wait for it. So the first thing we want to do is create our column grid. So I'm going to go up to where you see architecture, datum, grid. And I'm going to start the bottom of the line, which is down here, the tail, and drag it up. And I want this to be capital A in here. So I'm just going to type in capital A. And the reason I do that is because now when I put this one here, it's going to be B. I'm just going to randomly place it, but I want to make sure they're lined up top and bottom. So that's B, C. I'm going to come over here to the right and click and make a horizontal one. And I want this to be number 1, not D. So I'm going to change this to 1. I'm going to line this up. So that's going to be 2. This one is going to be 3. Again, I'm not worried about spacing now. So I've got my column grids. I'm just going to hit the escape key about a jillion times to make sure I'm out of that command. So now what I want to do is I'm just going to space these out. So this A is where I want it to be. So I'm going to click the B grid, and I want, instead of 25, I want that to be 22. Press enter. I'm going to select the C grid, make that 22 as well. And number 1 is where I want it. So I'm going to click on the 2 grid. That's going to be 15. So here's 15. Press enter. I'm going to select my 3 grid line. I want this dimension to be 15. Press enter. So I'm just going to click this, one of these to grab. So I'm going to click this little circle and drag it up because I don't need that to be quite so long. Click this one. Drag it over, and what I'm going to do is I am going to kind of select all of these with the window here, and I'm with the arrow keys. I'm just going to kind of move these over to the right, move them down a little bit, so that they're kind of centered in these elevation camera angle taggy thingies. So like so. So there's our column grid. So that's kind of step 1. And then what I want to do is I could either put the concrete pads here at the intersections, or I could put the columns at the intersections. Okay, so I have my grid lines created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my columns. So I'm going to go up to structure, click on column. I'm going to make sure I'm on the vertical column here. And I'm going to click on this, the properties. I'm going to select the very bottom of the W shaped column, this one, and then I'm going to click on where it says place at grids. So I'm just going to kind of left click and drag this to select all these grid lines. And you notice it puts our columns in our grid intersections. So to lock those in, I'm going to hit the finish check mark. And then what I want to do is I am going to hit the escape key a few times. I'm going to look at my south elevation. Because you can see my columns are like under the ground. Like we don't want that. So I am going to select the columns. And where you see top level, I want that to be, I'm going to change this to level 2. And then for top offset, I'm going to make this -5 inches. And then for base offset, I want this to be 0. And you can see it starts our column at 0, and it doesn't quite hit the top of level 2. That's because we're going to put a floor here that's 5 inches thick. So that's going to line up with our level 2. So, and then if we look at our columns in 3D, you kind of see what we got. I'm gonna go back down here to our visual style and change it from wireframe to like shaded, just to make it kind of look more fancier. So now we need to place our girders and our beams. So what I want to do is I'm going to double click on the level 2, and I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go to load Autodesk family. I'm going to scroll down here to where you see structural framing. And I want to scroll down towards the bottom because I want to get the W shapes. I've tried the wide flange, but that's not the one I want. I want to get this first where it says W shapes and just click on it and then hit load. And then the ones that I want to bring in, so if you hit the control button while you're selecting, you can select more than one. So I want to bring in the W24 by 55. So W24 by 55 is right here. I'm going to left click it. And then I want the W24 by 76. So I'm going to hold down the control key, select this one. And then I also need the W16 by 50. So I'm going to scroll down, W16 by 50. So I'll hit the control key, select the W16 by 50, and then I'm going to hit OK. And it says they're already there. Yes, I want to overwrite it. And so now what we want to do is we're going to add these kind of girders around kind of the outside. So to do that, I'm going to go to structure. I'm going to go to beam. And I'm going to, instead of the W shape 12 by 26, I want this to be, let me match what the book has. W24 by 55 is the one I want. So I want W24 by 55. And what I'm going to do is, I found it easier to just, I'm going to click this kind of the center of this column here and drag it up to the center of this one. Click the center of this one, drag it up to here. Oh yeah, make sure your tag on placement is selected. That way it'll put the size of your girders there. So I want those there. And then I want this one here. I'm just selecting the midpoints of these grid intersections. I want this one. And I want this one. So those 6 right here, those are going to be the W24 by 55. And then let me cancel out of this. So you can't really see what we're doing. So where's our girders at? So if I go down to the detail level and I change it to fine, now you can see our girders kind of pop in. So let me go to our 3D view here. So now if you look at this, you can see our girder kind of goes through our beam. So that's not what we want. So just to show you how can we fix that, if I go to where you see cope up here, apply coping, I'm going to click that. So what you want to do, I believe you want to click the girder first and then pick the column, and it kind of trims that out. Oh, but you know what else what we didn't do? I did not move the top of these girders down 5 inches like we did the columns. So let me do that. So I'm going to select, hold down the control key, select each one of these. And then where you see the Z value, justification on top, offset value. I'm going to change this to -5 inches. There we go. So now that looks better. That doesn't have that weird cut in it. So it moves our girders, the top of the girders down to the top of the beam. So that's what we want. And now I can go back to my coping. So I'm going to go to architecture, structure. Where is it at? Where is it at? Oh, I'm going to select this beam. And now I can hit cope. And then I'm going to select the beam, select the column, select the beam, select the column. So it kind of cuts it out of the way of each other. Select the beam first, column. one. Beams, column. Because we don't want those going through each other. That wouldn't be good. Here, 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 here. Okay, so there's those. Now what we want to do is we want to put these kind of horizontal ones. So I'm going to go back to my level 2. I'm going to go up to beam. I'm going to select, this one is going to be W24 by 76. So this one here. And this time I'm going to do this first. So my Z offset value here should be -5 inches. And now I can draw a line from the midpoint here over to this one. From the midpoint to the midpoint. Make sure that little magenta triangle pops up so you know you're at the midpoint of each one of these. And this one's cutting it out kind of automatically for us. Like so. Cancel. Let me take a look at our 3D view. There we go. Okay, so we have kind of the outer one. So now we want to put the, I don't know if they're joists or they're going to be smaller beams going across. So back to our level 2. Now here what we want to do is we want to click on beam system, and we want to change our, where you see our beam type, it says W24 by 76. We want to change this to make this W16 by 50. W16 by 50. That's what we want. And then we're going to go to make sure tag on placement is selected. I'm going to leave it on automatic beam system. So we want these. We want the lines to go straight up and down. But instead of our layout rule being a fixed distance, I'm going to change this to fixed number and number of lines to 7. And now I'm just going to kind of select this kind of left vertical piece and it plops those in. I probably should have brought those down 5 inches as well because they're going to be too high. So I'm going to bring in elevation. I'm going to change this to -5 inches. I might have to fix those, but then click that, click that, click that. Hit the escape key a couple of times. Let me look at a 3D view. Actually, let me look at a south elevation. So yeah, these here, you can see these here, I didn't bring down 5 inches, so they're sticking up. I'm gonna just select each one of these. With the control key held down. And where you see the Z offset value, I'm going to change this to -5. And there we go. Looking good. Go back to our 3D view. So now what I want to do is, so I want to put like a little concrete pad underneath where these columns are, so it kind of has something to kind of stand on. So to do that, I need to go to level 1, and I'm going to go to where you see structure. Let me see. Oh yeah, foundation. It's going to be isolated. So I'm going to click on isolated, and I notice there's really only 2 options here. So I'm going to click on the smaller option, and we'll fix this in a minute. So I'm going to click this one, and then you just kind of pick the intersection of these columns. I think we can also do it at grid. So if I select where you see at grids, and then left click and drag all of there, now you see it places them all in for us. But we don't want it to be rectangle. The book has it like square. So what I want to do is I'm going to select one of the, you know what I didn't do? I did not hit the finish button. So lesson learned. So I'm gonna go back. I need to go back and do that again. So at grids, select all of these, pops them in, make sure you hit the finish. Now, hit the escape, cancel. So I'm gonna select one of these. I'm gonna go to edit type. I'm gonna go to duplicate. And I'm gonna make this 48 by 48. 48 by 48 by 18. I'm gonna take this 2 out, don't need that. So 48 by 48 by 18 inches, hit OK. I need to change the length to 4 feet. So that's a square. I'm gonna hit OK. So now what I can do is I'm gonna select these other pads, holding down the control button. And in my properties, I'm gonna change this to our 48 by 48, like that. So let me make sure those are in the right spot. So 3D view, yeah, there we go. So our columns have something to sit on. So now what I want to do is we could leave it like this. Obviously these beams are not going to be kind of floating in the air like that, so we need to come in and put in some connectors, but we'll do that later on. Really, we'll do that when I figure out how to do it, and then when I figure out how to do it, I'll show you how to do it. But what we want to do, we want to add like a little floor up here, like a concrete floor, I think. So I'm going to go to level 2. And I'm going to go up to structure. We want to click on the floor. And I'm going to click on floor structural. And I'm going to, let's see which one I want to pick. I want to go to, I think, 3-inch lightweight concrete on 2-inch metal deck. So the 3-inch and the 2-inch, that equals 5 inches, right? So that's why we lowered the member 5 inches short of the second floor line, so that when this sets on top, then it's going to be even. So I'm going to select this, and then what we want to do is we want to kind of draw a square around this. So let me zoom in here. I'm going to go to where you see, how can I do this? I think maybe I could draw a rectangle actually, and I'm going to select the outside of this column and drag it down to the outside of this column here, like so. I don't want the center, I want the outside right there. Okay. And since our joists or our beams are going up and down, we want our span direction of our floor to be like it is. So this will tell you the span direction is kind of left to right. So that's kind of what we want. I'm going to click on the mode here. So let's take a look and see what we have. Let me look at our south elevation. So now you can see that the top of our floor is now up here at the kind of level 2. So I'm just going to select these and drag these closer. They don't need to be way out there. Same thing here. Select this and drag it over. So then we have our concrete pad. We have our columns, our girders, our beams. Let me look at a 3D view. Yeah, so that looks really awesome. So so make sure you save that what you have right now. As soon as I figure out how to put these like connectors in, then we'll kind of go through the steps of doing that. But yeah, I'm gonna save this as, let me move this over. Save it as steel framing. Probably this is my 3rd try at it, so I'm gonna name it 3, but you can name it whatever you want. Hit save, and there we go. So I hope that helped. So we'll kind of do more in the future, but that was kind of fun. It kind of looks kind of cool. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video, hopefully. All right, peace out.